Hello, so you might be wondering why we're looking at Blender today, because typically, as a studio, we normally use Maya, but we recently made a video on how to model a book in Maya, and we figured why not try and make a video where we get a Maya user, myself, to try and recreate that same book or a similar open book model in Blender with really not too much experience. I've used Blender a little bit to create animations and things. And the geometry nodes are really quite powerful. Like there's a lot in here that you can't do in Maya, but I've not modeled in here too much, so we're going to go ahead and try and do that. So yeah, this is a Maya user, long-time Maya user trying to model something in Blender. So let's go ahead and give this a go. I know that the rite of passage is to delete the default cube and everything else that comes with it, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And then we could go ahead and just create a new cube, but I think I'm just going to do what I would normally do in Maya. I kind of remember some of the hotkeys. I think it's Shift A to bring this up, right? And then I can go ahead and create a plane, and then I don't know any of the hotkeys to select this, like the scale and things like that. So this might be a bit of a slower video compared to what we normally do, because in Maya I know all the hotkeys, but I'm a complete like novice, a baby when it comes to doing this stuff in Blender. So if you have any tips in the comments on using Blender or modeling in Blender, especially if like coming from Maya, definitely let us know. But okay, that looks kind of like a book shape to me, an open book shape, something like that. We'll scale it out a little bit more. Okay, I need to add a loop cut, so I think tab to edit mode, right? Loop cut, and then I'll go ahead and add another one. Okay, and I can press Control to snap it, but I have to place it first. Okay, so we will go ahead and do that. Then I'll go into edge select mode, and then scale these in. It's going, surprisingly, I don't want to jinx it, reasonably well so far. I thought I would run into way more issues than this. I have a feeling, like, whenever you're learning software like this, a lot of it's just, like, if you know the principles of modeling, right? If you know how to model something, then you can kind of do it in any software. It's just like learning the interface and the hotkeys and stuff like that. That kind of thing takes time. Like, I've tried to use Blender before, and I ended up installing an add-on that made it more like Maya. Like, it changed the up axes to Y instead of Z and all that stuff, and like added like the marking menus and things like that. But then I decided, maybe that's a bit dumb, because if I'm going to learn the software, I might as well just learn it as is. Which is sort of what I've tried to do. So let me add another edge loop here if I can. Why is that not working? Okay, there we go. And then another one here. Okay, then I want to grab these guys and then pull them in a bit. And lift these up. Like so. Then maybe what I'll do is add a few more. I'm sure for like you guys that have been using Blender for ages, this is probably somewhat painful to watch. It's like baby's first steps in Blender. But honestly, it's not all that bad so far. And you know what I really like about Blender actually is the non-destructive modifiers, right? Like we don't have that in Maya. Like, you can kind of edit things afterwards, but like if you delete that history, which I often do all the time by mistake, then you just lose all that, Whereas in Blender, you really have to go out of your way to like apply a modifier. It's not so easy just to get rid of things. I think I'll move these a little bit more to something like that, and I think we're going to go ahead and like add some subdivision to this. Yeah, let's add a subdivision surface. Is this the right menu for this? Subdivision surface. There we go. Okay. Oh, okay, I'm not used to that. So when you like subdivide a plane in Maya, it doesn't smooth the edges out like this. That's interesting. I guess it's just a different, like a quirk of way of how this works in Blender. So okay, interesting. I thought it added like a preview, and instead of just like subdividing the whole thing. I wonder if there's a different one. No, that seems to be the only one. I'm definitely in the right menu. Okay, anyway. What I'll do is I'll just go ahead and turn this off for the time being and add some more loop cuts. So add some holding edges. So we will add one, oh, not like that. One like so. And another one like so. Okay, I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. So all I'm trying to do here is just create like, this is kind of normally how I do it in Maya. I would just create like a plane that sort of resembles the shape and then just extrude it. Actually, you know what? I think I'll bevel these. It makes more sense to bevel these edges. If I, how do I do this? If I go ahead and select these. That's one thing I don't like. I mean, maybe you can do this in Blender, but like in Maya, if I select an edge like this, if I just double click it, then that selects that entire loop. I wonder if there's a way for me to... I'm sure there is a way for me to select that entire loop, but I'm not too sure how to do that right now. If anyone knows in the comments, please do let me know. I'll probably end up going and looking it up afterwards anyway, just to check, but for now we'll just manually select these. Okay, so let's add a bit of bevel. Is there a tool down here for me to do that? Yes, there is. Okay, so how does this work? Okay. Oh, that's working a little differently to how I expected it to. I wonder if there's actually a modifier I can add instead. No, that's not what I want. Add modifier, bevel. Okay, I think that's just doing all the edges. So that's not exactly what we want. Okay, maybe for now then I'll get rid of that. Okay, I guess what I'll do is I'll just add some holding edges, but some sort of bigger ones. Maybe something like this. Something in the middle, kind of like that. Then we'll just pull that in. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and preview that. Okay, so that's looking quite a lot better. I am going to go ahead and apply this. I think I can do that just by... How do I apply this? You can really tell I don't have too much experience in this. Oh, I removed it by accident. There's probably going to be a million more mistakes that I make in this and I end up just editing out. So we'll see. I actually don't know how to apply this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and figure this out and then I'll get back to recording. Okay, so turns out I was a bit of a dummy and it very obviously says apply here, but because I was in edit mode, it's grayed out and I just sort of glazed over it and didn't look at it. It's been a long day, cut me some slack. But in doing that, I've realized that I need to actually edit a few things here because I don't like how far away these edges are because it's not giving me, I think, a tight enough curve. So I'm just going to pull that up a bit. And I'm sure there's a way to slide this. If I was doing this in Maya, I'd be sliding these up on the edge so that they're like perfectly straight. But it's a book. Nothing's perfect. You know, it's made out of probably, well, at least it used to be organic materials. That looks a little bit better, I think. So we'll come out of edit mode and actually apply that modifier now. Probably put that to 2. And then apply. Okay, so that is our basic book shape. Or at least the outside cover of it. This is just like a softback, paperback book. And then we'll shade that smooth. I remember how to do that one. So that it looks a bit smoother, not so... just to smooth out the normals like we normally would in Maya as well. I'm getting a bit of rounding on the edges actually, but I don't really mind that too much. I feel like that looks a bit more natural. Okay, next, I need to extrude this. So I think you can just add a modifier, can't you, to do this? I can't remember exactly what that's called. I've seen the Blender Guru do it a bunch of times. Is it just extrude? Or is it solidify? Oh yeah, it's solidify. Oh, but that's actually not working exactly how I thought it would. Okay, so maybe we don't solidify this. I think maybe we have to extrude this instead. So if I just select all the faces and then go to extrude region, can I just then pull that up? Perfect. Okay, that's probably way too thick. Maybe something kind of like this. Okay, excellent. But those edges are looking pretty soft, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more loop cuts. Let's go back into edit mode. I can see the topology now, which I don't like so much. But I'm not entirely sure how to turn that off. So I'm just going to roll with it. It might help us. Okay, so I'm going to add a cut, if it will let me. Oh, I'm not even using the tool. Please, guys, if you do comment, go easy on me. This genuinely is one of the first times I've modeled anything more complex than a donut in in Blender. Okay, what does that look like? Okay, that's not too bad. It's still looking a bit soft. I think I might need to add some more loops here still. Let's go ahead and do that. Something like that should do. You know, now that I've been doing this for all of 8 minutes, it's actually really not too bad. A lot of people give Maya a lot of like flack, I guess. Especially some of the guys in like, you know, they've been using other software like Maya and 3ds Max for a long time, but it's like genuinely a really, really good bit of software, and I would honestly encourage everyone to use it. And it's just free. Like, there's so much stuff that you can do in Blender that you can't really do in Maya, you know. And people give Maya a lot of like flack as well, for good reason too. But it's a good bit of software. But there's so much now that you can do in Blender with like the geometry nodes that it's so much more of a pain to do in Maya, or if you either just straight up just can't do it. But now what I'm gonna have to figure out how to do is add pages. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to have to add a plane again. Because like with the video we did in Maya, this is just going to be a like an open book, right? With kind of equal pages on both sides-ish, something like that. So we'll just go ahead and add another. Actually, no, I think I'll add a cube. We'll go ahead and add a default cube. I've also just realized our book is enormous. That's not a cube. That's a plane. Oops. Mesh. No. Yeah, there we go. Cube. Okay. Now, I'm going to kind of just roughly position this to something like this. We're then going to scale it out till it sort of fits. It doesn't go all the way up to the edge, just because I think it looks nice when the book has a bit of a lip. Maybe something like that. I also haven't figured out how to go into the orthographic view yet. But you know what? For the time being, I think that's okay. You know what this reminds me quite a lot of? When I first started modeling in like college. Now, for like those of you that are like in America or something like that, I don't mean like university college, like degree college. I mean like in the UK, college is more for like vocational stuff. And I'm just doing this thing called a BTEC. I guess it's kind of like community college in the US, maybe. I first started using 3ds Max to model there, and I had no idea what I was doing. We ended up having to make like a little animation, and I made this like sci-fi corridor looking thing, and we sort of lit it and rendered all of it. And at the time, I thought it looked really cool, and I like printed it out and used it to get into uni. But looking back on it, it just kind of sucked. But I guess that's, that's kind of like the nice thing when you can look back on your work much, much later on, like years down the line, and see like, oh, actually, I've actually come really far. And And that's why I'd like encourage you to never actually give up, right? Like 3D, like art in general, or anything in life really, just don't. If you enjoy doing it, don't give up on it. Like there's disheartening moments, obviously, right? Like the amount of times I've just been like stressed, trying to figure out why something isn't working, including in this tutorial, but you won't see that. I'm going to edit that. Like I've lost count really, but you just persevere with it, right? And then you get there eventually. Not that I'm in any position to be giving life advice as a random like agency owner, YouTube video creator, but just in general, like if you're creating art, if you're getting into 3D modeling, just don't give up on it. You know, start small, cut yourself some slack, and just keep going with it. Have fun with it as well. And I realize I'm probably starting to ramble at this point, but I'm just desperately trying to create these pages. Okay. I mean, it's not looking too bad, honestly. It's not looking too bad at all. In fact, I actually almost prefer this to the one that we made in Maya, funnily enough. We're going to need a few more loops, I think. I'm going to make this taller. Again, if you are a very experienced Blender user, if somehow the Blender guru comes across this, please do not cringe too hard. I genuinely am... honestly, I'm quite enjoying it, but I am slightly struggling. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. Okay, we'll put another one in there. And we'll just lift that whole thing up. Actually, you know what? We'll bring all of that back there. So it follows like the curve of the actual shape of the cover of the book. And bring that up like that. And then I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and add another one. And then we will pull this edge up as well. And pull this edge up. And then we're going to pull this guy down so that contacts with the cover. And then we kind of have like a nice little gap there too. It looks a bit more natural. That was entirely unintentional, but it just kind of worked out that way. Okay, we'll pull that, and then we'll pull this back a bit. Something like that. Make sure that's not intersecting. It is a little bit. We'll just lift that. Okay, there we go. We have our pages. Now, like, I've made books in the past, open books like this, and I've gone and made all the pages as individual separate pieces. And that does give you a lot of control, but it is also slightly crazy. I wouldn't really recommend doing that unless you're doing like a very up close, very hero, hyper-realistic type render. For a more distant thing, you can probably get away with just being one big fused piece of geometry and then doing this with textures. Maybe have like an extra page on top that is just lifting off to add a bit more, because you just want to break up the silhouette really at that point. And that will add just some like nice extra detail. But I think for the time being, that's going to be our page. Let's add some holding edges, and I think I want this to be very... Oh, actually, no. We can probably use the bevel this time. Let's try that. Let's go back into... what's this mode called? Object mode. That's it. Add modifier, search, bevel. Okay. Oh. That's behaving not quite how I imagined it would. Segments 2? Why is it... That's not working how I would expect it to. In Maya, limit... So it is doing the edges I want, but it's like doing this extreme bevel. Why is that? I'm sure someone can tell me what I'm doing wrong. Is it any of these, perhaps? No, that's crazy. Okay, maybe not. Maybe we just we delete that, and then we do the old holding edges. I'm sure there's a way to do that. I've seen people do it. Oh, I wonder if I can do it from here. What if I go ahead and select all my edges here instead? I'm trying to be somewhat lenient on myself, and proud of the fact that I have managed to make this in Blender. I'm sure a lot of you experienced Blender users are looking at this and laughing. The Maya user struggling to use Blender, but I don't think this is too bad. Let's go ahead and try and add a bevel now. Oh, okay, so here we go. Segments 2. No, that doesn't do anything. Oh goodness. Unless, oh, I wonder actually if I have to do that beforehand. Before I actually start the bevel. Let's try that. Just making sure I've got all my edges selected here. Okay, there we go. Okay, perfect. Now let's go and try and bevel again. Here. Okay, we have that set to 2, so I'm expecting to see, you know what, just for luck, let's go ahead and put that to 3. I'm expecting to see here more... Oh, but it's doing the same thing. That's very, very weird. How it's like it's not uniformly beveling this. Why is that? Unless there's some command that I'm missing here. Like that's got to be the strangest default bevel I've ever seen. I'm sure I'm just misunderstanding something. Okay, I guess we'll just have to loop cut it. We won't bevel it. We'll just do some very, very tight loop cuts. Something like that. I remember when I got my first job in VFX, I would spend a very, very large amount of time just manually creating bevels like this, instead of just using the bevel tool. And I didn't realize that you could toggle off like the, what do they call it? I can't remember now, but you know where the bevel actually like rounds the edges for you, rather than just adding these like fencing edges. You can actually toggle that off. And someone eventually told me that, and it was a huge eye-opener, and I felt terrible because I just spent the past like 4 months manually creating these, not knowing that I could just use the bevel tool and toggle something. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes, really. Just have to roll with the punches, I guess. Okay, let's go ahead and see what that looks like. You know what I might add, actually? A little edge in here, just to make this not so perfectly straight. I probably should have done this before I added all my holding edges. Doing this in Blender has made me forget a lot of things all of a sudden, I guess, because I'm just panicking, trying to figure out what to do. Okay, that looks... terrible is the first thing that comes to mind, but I guess for my first model in Blender, not too bad. What if I go ahead and add a subdivision modifier again? Subdivision surface. And then shade smooth. Ah, perfect. Okay, actually, you know, that's not too bad. I'm kind of happy with that. Now I just need to figure out how to duplicate this across. I'm going to go find that out, and I'll pause the recording and get back to you. Okay, so it turns out there is a mirror modifier. So let me try and use that. So we're going to go add modifier, mirror. Okay. Okay, it is mirroring it, but it's not really doing what I want it to. Oh, no, there we go. Okay, that works, but it's not... Ah, okay. Oh, okay, so I need to change the origin point to the world. So how do I do that? Okay, I'm going to have to pause recording again and then get back to you because I actually have no idea how to do this. Okay, so after doing a bit of digging and asking around with someone that knows a lot more about Blender than I do at this point, I have figured out how to mirror this properly. So reason that it wasn't mirroring correctly is because the origin point for this object is currently here, right? It's not in the world center, which is here where the 3D cursor is. I just found out what that is as well, by the way. So if I just right click our mesh and then go to set origin to 3D cursor, now it's back in the center of the world, and I should be able to, fingers crossed, I'm praying, mirror this. Oh, Oh, okay. Not quite. Ah, perfect. Okay, perfect. Right. Only issue I have now is the pages don't quite touch the middle. Oh, but we're mirroring. So, oh my god. Okay, so I can just select these vertices, hopefully, here, and then move these in a bit towards the center, and then I'll mirror. Look at that. There we go. Excellent. Now we have the okay, well, it's slightly off. So maybe I celebrated too soon. Something like that. Okay, now we have them smack bang in the center, okay? And, like, funnily enough, this looks better than the one we made in Maya. Maybe I should just switch to Blender. It's probably not going to happen anytime soon, but this is actually not too bad, considering I've never modeled anything properly in Blender before, I think. Maybe I'm just patting myself on the back too early, but, you know, it looks okay. I've definitely seen books that look like this. Okay, so that's the video. I hope you found this useful. If you want to use this as a tutorial or a guide, you absolutely can. But yeah, I think this came out okay. If this is helpful for you, fantastic. If you have any comments at all, please leave them. We'll absolutely get back to you, answer them, perhaps even make another video, a follow-up. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.